and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gale Thompson, and I hope you're safe at home and well and crafting. We're going to work on Inlaid Diecut technique today. We're starting with the Kimono by Spellbinders. I've wanted to use this since Creativation. We're also going to use some stick-it adhesive, although glue would work just fine. And we have 4 different pieces of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 cardstock, although I wind up not using one of the black ones. So the first thing we're going to do for the base is put some stick-it adhesive on one side. It's a strong double-sided adhesive, but it's very thin, and it does give you wiggle room for a little bit. It really doesn't set until you press on it hard and, kind of brayer it or use your bone folder like I will. But I did kind of get it stuck there on the bottom. It worked fine. For some reason, though, this piece has been bent, and I'll show you here in a second, the middle piece isn't great. Now, these Teflon scissors are great for cutting adhesive because the adhesive comes right off. I always cut it a little bigger because I know I'm going to lay it on crooked, so it's easier to fix. For starters, we're going to put the Kimono on this gloss red. I can't remember what the brand is. I want to say Tonic. And I'm putting all the pieces in. And I didn't show you that, but I will later on another one because we have to do the gold. Now, I realized the tape kind of impressed in my Gemini Junior, so I'm not sure that I'll be able to get 2 cards out of this like I hoped. That Gemini Junior is pretty tough. Maybe if I took the shim out. But otherwise, it's fine for what I need it for today. Now, when I planned this, I forgot about all those little teeny weeny pieces. So I'm not going to bore you with all of that, but definitely pick a simpler one if you've not done this before, because it takes forever. But the key to it is organization. Keep all your pieces together of every color. Now, this is going to be my base, so I didn't use all those little pieces. I just used the big outline of the kimono. And here, this purple tape got on here. It had a little too much stick to it. And I could have cleaned that up, but instead I flipped it over and used it since it was a symmetrical image. Now I'm unfortunately not quite on camera, but I'm putting the pieces back in for the gold. And I know that that's gold mirror cardstock by Tonic. I think it's called Craft Perfect. So I'm placing these in. There's a little bit of a gap between all the pieces, which is nice because it gives you a little bit of play because it really doesn't matter that much. And I'm carefully taking off the tape. Please ignore the bruise on my hand. I had a little procedure done last week, and that's where the IV was. Nobody hit me. And I start taking all those little pieces out with my Spellbinder tool-in-one. Trust me, pick a bigger, simpler image for your first one. But I'm just too lazy to rethink this, so I went with it. That's pretty much how I roll. So as I said before, the key is you've got to keep all of this organized because you'll spend too much time hunting around. Now we're going to release the other side of the stick-it. Normally I roll it down one little section at a time, but I got bold this time. I'm going to get my head in the way so you can't see a darn thing and lay the outline of the black on top of the stick-it. Now, my stick-it must have had some kind of fold in it, so I put a little bit of art glitter glue in there because the whole idea is for it to hold the inlays. Now I'm just inlaying, just like a puzzle piece, the outside of the kimono, just sort of sliding it in, and you'll know it's right because it'll catch in with the paper, the inside of the paper. And I, of course, fadiddle. That's the nice thing about the stick-it. It doesn't just, instantly bond. And now I'm just going to puzzle piece the rest of the kimono decorations. I won't bore you with all of it, but we'll do the main pieces. I can't even tell you how tiny some of those dots were on the flowers. Oh my. So we're just gonna keep on puzzle piecing in. I hope all of you are doing well and not going crazy with all this virus mess. I have to still work, and I don't mind working when people come in the store and they have urgent needs, but many of them just come in because they're bored, and they expose us to things, and all I do is disinfect all day long, it seems. So please stay at home if you can. Now we're going to fill in the little tiny pieces. I thought I didn't want everything to be uh, all red, so I thought the gold would work pretty nice there. And then just the last of the red pieces. My friend Melody reminded me, I completely forgot about press and seal. That would be a really good thing to do with tiny little pieces, or even with, big pieces. That way you could just flip it over and it would all stay contained. So right after you die cut it, lay the press and seal on top before you move it, and you will be good to go. Now I'm taking my quick stick, which is really, really old, probably 10 years old, and I'm having some issues with it, but I'm taking it and putting in some of those little teeny weeny dots in the middle of the flowers. Might not even really have to do that if you went with kind of a different background, but I did. So now it's time to smooth out and make the stick it adhere. It doesn't adhere until you press it down, which is one of the good things with it. There is the front of the card. Now we're going to make the finished card. I'm going to layer it, and I'm trying to decide, do I want the gold or do I want the red behind? It's the rule of thirds. So the third most color should be the one behind first. A lady that used to frame pictures told me that you want to do that. You want to take the third most dominant color and start your matting there. So I'm just going to use the paper from the mirror cardstock from the other, what I already cut out, because you're not going to see that anyway. And I don't like to waste cardstock, especially mirror cardstock. Plus it takes some weight off the card for mailing. Probably not a lot, but every little bit helps. Now I'm going to make my card base, and this is Hero Arts Midnight Black cardstock. I'm guessing something like 130 pounds, because it is way more than 110. And it's the blackest cardstock I've ever seen. And so I'm trying to show you it's not flimsy. And then I'm going to use my art glitter glue again. And we're just going to layer up our mats for the card. If you hear stuff going on, my neighborhood's, since some people are at least staying home, it's a little rowdy, and the kids next door have a trampoline, but I wanted to get this out, and I'd been waiting for it to get quiet, and it just hasn't been happening between the dogs barking and the lawnmowers. It's just one of those things. I have to do this on a day off, and it is what it is. So I'm going to kind of get over the top of it and eyeball, as I usually do. I use liquid glue because I'm too lazy to measure, so at least I can have a little wiggle room there. Now the hello, that comes from, that's a hello sugar script. And I layered it up 3 thick, but I'm going to be hanging it over the side. So I wanted to put another layer on, and it turns out I probably should have put 2 layers on the bottom to level it up, because I didn't want to mess with trying to do foam tape on that little bit of an area. Oh, that's a Birch press. Sugar script hello, and I don't know if they still make it. I know they make the big hello with the shadow. I will take a look, and I will note it at the bottom in my description with the rest of the products. All of them are linked below. And thank you. I really appreciate it when you use those links. I also will have picture links over at my blog if you would prefer to have those. Now that glue does dry clear, so if you get a little bit somewhere, it won't hurt anything. The mirror stock does get a little boogered up. You have to be careful with it, but you really can't tell unless you're looking. And I think it turned out great. I just love how the mirrored cardstock gives it a classy look, and it really wasn't hard to do. Here's the finished project, and I have some other examples over at my blog like this one. And then the Stamp Junkies, the Ohio Stamp Junkies, had a challenge last weekend, and here are some examples from that from a lot of talented folks. You know, us Buckeyes, we love our craft, and so I hope that you enjoy trying this out. It isn't hard, especially if you use a little bit larger pieces to start out with. I plan on coming back really soon. I hope that you all stay safe and that your families are safe and healthy. And if you are out there working, I thank you. I applaud you. What I do is really minor compared to the people on the front lines, and I really, really appreciate it and pray for your safety. Please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing with friends and stopping back. I'm also at Darby Creek Diaries on Instagram, the darbycreekdiaries.com blog, and I also have a Facebook page. Of course, it's called the Darby Creek Diaries. And I hope that you will come back soon, find something interesting. I'm going to leave a couple videos for you, especially if you have time that, you want to do something creative. I hope you get a chance. You have a great day. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.